Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with University of Lancaster. Today we have Jason with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, Jason.
Thank you so much, Deepika. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jason Cook. I'm the Regional Manager at Lancaster University, looking after our recruitment efforts in India. So thank you so much for joining. What I'm proposing to do today is give you a bit more insight about Lancaster University, and in particular talk about the many different sort of aspects of student life and what makes it such a vibrant and great campus to be on. So like Deepika said, if you do have questions, please keep hold of them. There will be time at the end for us to do a Q&A. You can either do that by typing it in, and the SIUK team, I think, will pass that over to myself. So very quickly on Lancaster, because I want to basically use the time to tell you about all of the really fun things that can happen here. So I'll give you some details, such as the fact that we're a very modern campus style university. When you think of quintessential British countryside, that's almost exactly what we offer at Lancaster University. So you can see on this image here, our campus. So we have one site, one location. We're surrounded by woodland. We actually even have a woodland walk all the way around campus. We're a medium-sized university in the UK with 15,000 students, and we teach every type of degree program. So all the way from foundation through to PhD with bachelor's and master's in there as well. And we're also one of a very small handful of institutions in the UK that operate a collegiate system, but I'll give you more details about that as we progress. So in terms of location, if you look at a map of the UK, you'll see that Lancaster looks like it's almost exactly in the middle. And that's because obviously Scotland is a much bigger country than I think people realise. So if you look at a map of England, we're in the northwest of England. That means that by train, on a direct train, we're approximately 2.5 hours from London, and we're about 1 hour from Manchester by car or by train as well. Okay, so rankings obviously quite important for students when you're trying to identify the most appropriate university for yourself. At Lancaster, we're very pleased. We do consistently well in the rankings, so you can see some of the major league table rankings here. And also, if you go online, you'll be able to find in more detail different subject rankings where we do consistently well. So student experience, we pride ourselves on being in the top 10% universities in the UK for overall course satisfaction. So that means the things that contribute to that are great student experience, the facilities that students are using, and also the support system, of which Lancaster is fantastic at. So touching on some of the different support systems that you have in place when you're a student with us, you can see some of them here. I myself am actually a welfare advisor in Bowland College, and that means that students in Bowland College can come to me with any issues that they might be facing, whether that might be that they're worried about a deadline, they might have an issue, I don't know, with the accommodation, something like that. So they can come to me and ask me for my advice, and I'll point them in the right direction. But it really does show, I think, out of different universities that I've worked at in the UK, and this is the 4th institution that I've worked at, definitely the support systems that are in place at Lancaster, to me, are more prevalent at Lancaster than they have been anywhere else. And that is essentially the commitment that Lancaster has to students. There are different types of experiences that you can take part in when you become a student at Lancaster, whether that is something like an exchange program that we have with different institutions around the world, or even study abroad opportunities as well. So you can almost study. The fact is that you guys are already thinking about potentially studying abroad, so you can enhance that experience a little bit further by studying at one of our partner institutions for maybe a semester, maybe a month, or maybe even a full year as well. So employability is a massive, massive part of what we try to provide students with at Lancaster University. We pride ourselves and have won awards in the past for giving students the absolute best start when it comes to beginning their career post-graduation. We do lots of different subject-specific career events throughout the year. We have what we call the Lancaster Award, which is basically a kind of skills-based and knowledge-based award where students will meet certain criteria throughout the duration of their studies. And at the end of it, they achieve either a bronze, silver or gold award. And that's something that is really, really nice to have on your CV when you graduate. Maybe it gives you that little bit more competitive edge. You've got work experience, you've got volunteer experience, you've worked on projects, you've worked in the community. All of these different things give you that extra kind of detail and skills and knowledge to be able to talk to prospective employers about. We also do mentoring. We offer students the opportunity to speak face-to-face with potential employers. Internship opportunities will arise throughout the year. All of these things are here and available for students to use. However, the onus is very much on the student to make the best of these opportunities. So like anywhere, like any other type of experience in life, the most proactive will be the beneficiaries. So you've got to be a student that wants to use these different opportunities, and that will enhance your profile and give you the best possible start after you've graduated. So Lancaster itself, you might not have heard of it before. I suppose in terms of size and scale of UK cities, Lancaster is probably a smaller city. But that said, it is still very much a city. Lancaster is very historic. It's a Roman city, which is actually where the name comes from. You have all of the kind of modern amenities that you need in sort of city centre life. The city itself is approximately 12 to 15 minutes away from the campus, accessible by a very, very easy to catch bus that actually runs through the heart of the campus. So if you do need to go into the city, or perhaps you're going for a meal with friends, or you're even visiting the castle, for example, then all of that is very easy for you to be able to do. The city also is very well connected to the rest of the UK. So a couple of slides ago, you heard me mention the fact that we're 2.5 hours away from London and an hour away from Manchester. So Lancaster has a direct route all the way from London that will take you all the way up to the major cities in Scotland very, very easily by train. Might not sound like something that's really important now, but there are a couple of key advantages to that, because one of them, it means that if you've got friends that are studying in these different cities around the UK at the same time that you're studying in Lancaster, you can get to them very easily on the weekend or maybe during reading week or something like that. But also when you come to graduate and you're now starting maybe in your final year or the final couple of months of your master's, for example, you're starting to do some interviews and etc., and you want to stay and live and work in the UK, then jumping on the train down to London is not a really big deal. It's very easy for you to be able to do that because of how well connected Lancaster actually is. And also about 20% of the entire population of people that live in Lancaster are students. So it's a very student-oriented city. There are discounts in major retailing places. When you go to the cinema, you'll also get a student discount. You might find discounts in different bars and pubs and clubs and things like that, and cafes. So it's very much a student-friendly city. And obviously, we'd very much like you to experience that as well. So looking a bit at the campus now, I'm going to show you some images to give you an idea about what Lancaster actually looks like. So right here, you can see a bird's eye perspective of Lancaster University's campus looking southwards from from the city area, if that makes sense. So you can see everything is kind of contained within this one area. This is actually not even the full campus, by the way. So just to the right, or I'm not sure the orientation, but just below on this image, you'll actually find the sports centre, the playing fields, and the rest of the woodland walk that goes all the way around the campus. So it looks like a massive, massive campus, but it's very easy to access everything on foot. So to walk from one end to the furthest end that you can see on this image here might take you something like 7 or 8 minutes walking distance. So whilst it looks super, super big, it's actually very easy to access. Everything that you need is located on this campus, everything from the student accommodation, which you can see in different pockets of the campus here, through to the lecture theatres, your library, We have faith rooms as well, so students can say prayers and so on. You have a hair salon, you have the pharmacy, you've got the doctor's surgery, you have a supermarket, you have various different cafes, restaurants, and bars to be able to get food and socialize. So everything that you need in order to have a great student life is located here within this campus space. So here you've got the main sort of quad. My office is actually in one of those windows there that you can see at the very bottom there. So I can always check down into the quad and see what the queue looks like for the different places that you can get food and drink on the campus. And also during the summer months, we do things like in this sort of area here, it becomes an international street food market. So there's obviously sort of gets nice and vibrant during that time. There's also different markets that take place as well throughout the year and everything like that. So this is very much what you'd call the heart of the campus. Again, kind of leaning towards the sort of place that we are in the campus, where we're located on the map. You've got lots of green areas, you've got the pond. In fact, the mascot of Lancaster University is ducks, because there's so many ducks that follow you around the campus. There's some more images here. You can see that the engineering building is reasonably new, so the facilities in there are fantastic. And again, some more kind of study / chill out areas within the campus. You've got the library there as well, which is, I don't know if anyone could correct me if I'm wrong, but possibly the only library in the world where we have a living tree in the middle, which is really, really nice. And again, some other images here of the campus that shows you just what the campus actually looks like, so you can get a feel of the vibe on the campus there. So speaking about the campus, since 2003, we spent over £500 million in the facilities. So that means that basically when you come and study at Lancaster, the facilities, regardless of the program that you're studying, are going to be some of the best that you'll find at any institution around the world. The learning zone, the sports facilities, in fact, the sports centre was recently finished during COVID, so that the facilities in that sports centre now are world class. You've got the Olympic-sized swimming pool, you've got the weights room, you've got absolutely everything that you can benefit from as a student. And again, some of the other kind of mock-ups of other developments that are happening at the university. So looking at the health and innovation campus there as well. So basically, knowing that an institution is spending and investing in the campus basically shows our commitment to the students. And that's something that you'll be able to benefit from if you become a student at Lancaster. So I mentioned in the very first slide, I think it was, about the collegiate system that Lancaster actually has. So not many universities still operate under this system. Basically, what it means is that you have Lancaster University as the kind of overarching institution. And within Lancaster, you have an identity because you will belong to a college at Lancaster. So there are 8 undergraduate college and a dedicated postgrad college. So if you're doing a master's or you're doing a PhD, you will automatically be in the graduate college. If you're coming to study any subject at bachelor's level or even foundation, then you will belong to one of the other 8 colleges. The accommodation that you live in will determine the college that you will be in. So it isn't subject specific, it's actually accommodation specific. What the college does is offer an extra kind of support system, an extra safety net, an extra kind of service that you benefit from. There are lots of different friendly rivalries and competitions between the different colleges. Like I mentioned before, even staff members are in a college. I'm in Bowland College as one of the welfare advisors there. So in my personal opinion, Bowland is the best college. It's also one of the 2 founding colleges of Lancaster University, with the other one being Lonsdale College. So looking at the different colleges here, these are obviously the undergraduate colleges because it doesn't mention the graduate one. You've got Bowland, Cartmel, County, Furness, Grisdale, Lonsdale, Pendle and Fylde College. And these are all in different locations on the campus. And like I've just mentioned before, determined by the accommodation that you will be actually living in. So looking at accommodation, and I know it's probably a different thing these days, but when I did my degree back in the day, the accommodation was a really important part of my decision-making process. The reason for that is because it was my real kind of sort of leap of independence away from kind of mum and dad, away from the family home and everything like that. So for me, choosing accommodation was a really big decision. And obviously as well, for me, location was key. I wanted to be kind of convenient. I wanted to be on the campus. So therefore, it's very easy when you're on the campus to find where you need to be. It's very easy to create a routine, which is what I did when I was a student. So being super close to lecture theatres obviously means that you'll be able to get there in good time. Being within a very short distance of the library is going to obviously help when it comes to studying and exam time and essays and things like that. And also, it's really convenient because all of the bills are included in the accommodation fee. So, for example, Wi-Fi, water, electric, all of that kind of stuff is also included within the fee. The prices at Lancaster
Hello, Jason. Can you hear me? Hi, hi, Priyanka. Can you hear me?
Yes, Deepika, I can hear you.
I think there is some network issue from.
Network issue. Yeah. Because I'm not getting his voice. I guess he's disconnected now.
Yeah. Hi, Jason. We can see you now, and you are on mute. You are on mute.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. I think the connection dipped slightly. So yeah, we were talking about the accommodation. Again, I'll just touch on that very quickly. The catered accommodation, you are kind of restricted a little bit by the times. So think about when you stay in a hotel if you go on a holiday. Usually hotel breakfast finishes at 10, 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock. If you want to stay in bed, obviously you'll miss the food and everything and have to buy it yourself. It's kind of like that when it comes to university accommodation as well. There are times that can restrict you, so I would always recommend go for the self-catered and you'll be absolutely fine. So looking at the different faculties at Lancaster, Arts and Social Sciences, we call it FAS, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. You can see some of the programs in there. We have Lancaster University Management School, or LUMS as we like to call it. And again, you can see some of the different programs here. Science and Technology, or FST, we call it, Faculty of Science and Technology. So you've got the kind of traditional and hard sciences in there. And then we also have FHM, the Faculty of Health and Medicine, where you can see the different health programs there as well. So a little bit of flexibility that you can find at Lancaster, which not every university actually offers. So it could be possible that you can do a combined honours programme or a joint honours programme where you can possibly take modules from a different subject area. So that's a really nice thing to be able to do if you've got interests in different places. And it basically means that you don't have to drop a subject in order to focus in one particular area. So it basically helps you to kind of make that student experience a little bit more rich. So looking at life as a student, so some of the fun stuff that you can get up to when you become a student at Lancaster University, you can see here, we mentioned the student union. So the student union coordinates all of the different types of societies and clubs and many, many different activities that happen on the campus throughout the various different academic years. It is run by students for students. So there are elections that take place, very, very democratic. What you'll find is that various different student clubs and societies will represent different ideas or ideologies. So things like support and welfare, volunteering opportunities, which again can enhance your CV for when you've graduated, different sports clubs and societies. We also coordinate Welcome Week. So when you actually even get off the plane, you might find that there's somebody from Lancaster to welcome you, and various different activities that will happen in that very first week. Sugar House is the nightclub that is owned and run by the Lancaster University Student Union. So again, when you want to relax and kick back or do some celebrating, you've got somewhere to do that. So looking at sports clubs, you can compete at 3 different levels. So even if you've never, ever, ever done something like kayaking or rock climbing or badminton, whatever it might be, there is a level for you to be able to go in at. So this is the perfect time for you to try new things. There's no kind of judgment or anything like that. It's very much up to you to do that. There is obviously a subscription or a fee that you need to pay, but it's normally very reasonable. And it basically means that you'll be able to network and meet friends and people from various different places as well. Normally what you find in the vast majority of programs that we teach, Wednesday afternoons are kept completely available because that's when the majority of the different clubs and societies will participate in their activities and in their sports. Again, mentioning the sports centre, just to give it a plug, because it is one of the very best sports facilities that I've ever seen in my entire life. You've got the pool in there, the sauna, the gym, the climbing wall and bouldering cave. And also, I'm not sure if you know, but in the UK, we are crazy about football. So there's something like at least 7 or 8 or even 10 different football fields that we have at Lancaster, tennis courts, 3G pitches as well. So you've got all of the different sports that you could potentially do covered. Some more rivalry stuff here. So you've got the Battle of the Roses here, where Lancaster against York University. So this is held on their campuses. It's basically a mini Olympics or a kind of big sports day that happens, and it is actually even covered on radio and television as well. Academic societies. So I've mentioned a lot about the different sports, but also there are so many different ways in which you can get involved in clubs and societies in an academic way. So basically, for example, you might find that there's a law society or the mathematics society or engineering, for example. And basically what that means is that you can join that club or society and basically get together when it comes to things like revising. You can do study groups and stuff like that as well. During the course of the program, there will also be things like guest lectures taking place, different social activities. It might even include field trips. So, for example, I did a politics degree back in the day, and one of the very first field trips we went to the House of Commons down in London. So there are different things that you can get involved in there as well, like that. Looking now then, I'm coming up to close before we go for questions, but I just wanted to highlight again some of the nice things that you can see in and around the Lancaster University campus. So just on this image here, the very top one, I believe, is Scafell Pike, which is the very tallest mountain in England. I've actually been up there myself. And obviously, if that's something that you're into, the Lake District, which is where I live, can offer you various different scenic things. So a really, really Instagrammable place, I have to say. Here again as well, you've got some more images. The one there on the right that looks like it's been taken out of a tent, I believe that is the deepest glacial sort of point in all of England. Again, I've been to that one as well. I forget the name, Haweswater Reservoir, and there's a point that you can go to where that is. And then, yeah, some more students there enjoying the local sheep and also on the lake there as well. So Lancaster is actually surrounded by a national park, and I think you could kind of gauge that by looking at the images that I've already showed you. Here you've got a festival taking place in the grounds of Lancaster Castle and various different gigs and music festivals that happen throughout the year as well. So that brings me very, very tidily to a close for questions. So if you do have any questions, believe me, there's no such thing as a crazy or silly question. If you have a question for me, there's a very, very good chance that another person within the session also has the very same question. So please feel free to ask me anything that you want to ask.
Thank you so much, Jason, for such a knowledgeable presentation. We can now move towards the Q&A session. So, Priyanka, could you please help Jason with the Q&A session?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for taking the time and giving us this presentation. My question for you is that do you have graduate students with family company? Is there any support provided for?
Graduates. Sorry, Priyanka. Could you say it again?
Yeah. So, do you have graduate students with family accompanied? Is there any support provided for?
So, graduate students who have family that are coming with them to the campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. So we actually have family accommodation also on the campus itself. there is like a creche or a nursery for people that have got young children as well. So yeah, we do support students that are coming in. You know, we're very accepting in the fact that so many people that want to come to Lancaster are coming with different backgrounds, different ideas, have different circumstances. So absolutely, we cater to that. And, you know, if a student's coming in to do a master's program or an MBA, something like that, it might be that in their professional career, you know, they want to validate some skills, or they need that qualification for a promotion, and they need to bring their family with them. And that's absolutely fine. We can help with that.
Okay.
Priyanka, can you please ask the next question?
Yeah. I have 10 years of experience. This question is from Shivani Rajput. I have 10 years of experience in digital marketing, but I have an education gap. Am I eligible in MSc in marketing?
Yeah, you should be absolutely fine. There's not really. So at Lancaster, this is a very common question, actually, by the way, is do you accept anyone that has a kind of gap in their resume or in their academic career? And the answer to that is absolutely not. The thing that we look for at Lancaster, we're very particular about the academic skill set of the individual. So what we will look at in detail are things like their transcript from their bachelor degree. We want to see that you've got the relevant kind of knowledge and skill set. If you've got work experience within that field, that is also going to really help as well. And we're looking to be able to, when we read the SOP or the personal statement, we're looking to be able to identify the right knowledge, the right skills, and the right motivations. If you have a 5, 10-year, 15-year gap in between your studies, that doesn't really matter to Lancaster. What we're looking for is that you've got a commitment and you've got the right skills and knowledge.
Okay, so the next question is, I'm interested in undergraduate admission process. I would appreciate some information with this.
Yeah, so when it comes to undergraduate admissions, the key thing to remember and to get used to is the idea of UCAS. So UCAS is the University and Colleges Admission Service. It's an online platform where you input all of your details, all of your information, all of your transcripts, teacher referee, all of that kind of stuff. And when you apply to you will actually apply to 5 different universities. So UCAS is the very starting point that I would recommend to any prospective undergraduate student. Understand how it works, understand how to use it, because there's a wealth of information on there with details about absolutely every single university and program available in the UK. So it is a fantastic resource for you to be able to look at. Very quickly, in terms of the UCAS process, there is a timeline that you must adhere to, and that will vary depending on the program you're applying to also. So for the vast majority of undergraduate degrees, you need to apply before, I think the deadline is normally 15th of January or somewhere around this date, and that is of the same year that you are coming to study. So you're applying basically 9 months, 8 or 9 months in advance of beginning your studying. For those that are looking to do medicine or dentistry, you actually need to apply almost a full year in advance. So the deadline is actually in October. So again, you have to make sure that you adhere to this as well. Very quickly then, in terms of what you need to submit an application in UCAS, personal statement is incredibly important. If you need English language criteria like an IELTS or a TOEFL, for example, that needs to be in there. We need to see a teacher reference. We need to see your predicted transcripts if you don't already have them. And I'm sure there's something else that I've forgotten, but in a nutshell, that's what you need to get. Again, double check with the UCAS website, and also have a look at the different universities that you're thinking about applying to. Have a look at their websites as well, because they are often a wealth of information in there.
Okay. So the next question is, Okay, so the next question is, what is the fee structure for international students? Can I pay installments?
Yeah, good question. So when you actually come to do your visa application, you do need to be able to show that you have the funds available for the first year of tuition. In terms of the fee structure, the majority of students will pay it in 2 or 3 installments. So that is something that you'll be able to work out with the student funding office after you have the offer. But yeah, typically what happens is you will pay a deposit, and that means that we can release the CAS number. So the CAS is basically what you need in order to apply for your student visa. So when we release the CAS to you, you can use that to apply for the visa. And like I said, you've paid a deposit, which I think is £1,000 or £2,000. From there, you arrive on the campus and you normally pay the tuition fee after the first term or during the first term. And that might be the first half or first third. And then you'll do that again after you come back from Christmas break as well.
Okay. So
while we're touching on, sorry, Priyanka, I'll just add a little something to that.
Yes.
So while we're talking about tuition fees, at Lancaster right now, we do have a scholarship in place, which is called the Lancaster Global Scholarship. So this is a merit-based scholarship for students that have achieved very high grades, and this is applicable to students from bachelor's and for master's programs. The award is a £5,000 tuition fee discount. Okay, so if students have achieved or expecting to achieve very highly in their kind of pre-university education, then there is a good chance that they might receive an offer of that scholarship for their studies as well. So that's called the Lancaster Global Scholarship. It is an international scholarship, so we accept students onto that scholarship from all around the world, in particular from India as well. I've been told that there are a number of Indian students coming in and receiving that scholarship for 2022. So that is in place, and you'll be able to find that very easily on Google and have a look at the finer details. Lancaster Global Scholarship.
So the next question is, how soon can visa application be considered?
It very much depends on the timeline that almost is decided by the individual. So as soon as you receive the CAS, if you're really kind of quick and proactive and you submit that and try and get the visa and everything, it might take a couple of weeks. It very much obviously depends on where you're located. The turnaround time from the embassy and everything like that, because Lancaster, unfortunately, we don't issue the visa. It is something that's done kind of internally within it's part of the British Embassy or British Consulate or something like this. So it is them that have to turn it around. So what I would say is the earlier the better. Try and get it in there so that you can receive it back as soon as possible. Then that alleviates any times and pressures that you might have. You can think about when you're going to book flights and all of that kind of stuff as well then.
Okay. The next question is there still partial scholarship for postgraduate students for September intake?
Yeah, so that would be the Lancaster Global Scholarship that I just mentioned before. So it is applicable to students who are coming to do a bachelor or to do a master's program. So yeah, students who meet the main criteria, which is obviously, like I said before, a high kind of merit in grades, then there's every chance that when you receive an offer, you may also receive an offer of the scholarship. What I forgot to mention actually is the way in which you apply to the Lancaster Global Scholarship. When you submit your application to Lancaster to study with us, we automatically consider you for that scholarship. Most universities, you will normally receive an offer from the university, and then a bit later, they might recommend that you apply to a scholarship. At Lancaster, we totally eradicate that process. Basically, it means that you don't have to write about yourself again in a different way. When you apply to Lancaster, you will be considered for the scholarship. And if you have high grades, there's a good chance that you'll achieve and receive that scholarship offer.
Okay. So the next question is, how is the Masters in Business program in the university? Please advise.
Well, Lancaster University Management School is a quadruple accredited business school. The management programs that you'll find within the business school are obviously of a very high standard. Most universities have double or triple accreditation. So for Lancaster to be able to say we've got quadruple accreditation, I think sets the bar, and it shows you the kind of quality that you could expect to receive from that program or from a program within LUMS. My top recommendation to the student would be to have a look on our website and have a look at and this is for any subject area, not just management, but because in the UK, there's about 130, maybe just more than that in terms of numbers of universities. So a very strong number, a very high number, I'd say probably 80% or more will offer some sort of business or management program. So it's really hard for you as the student to identify which one is going to be the right one for you. The best way for you to do that is to have a look at the individual universities' websites at the program. There's normally a list of tabs that you'll see at the top. One will say overview, entry requirements, course content, assessment, or various different things and fees maybe. Click on course content. That will normally, or structure, that will normally show you the individual classes and modules that you'll take as part of that program. So you'll be able to identify the key sort of expertise of each respective department and university that you're applying to, and ultimately that will help you in choosing which one aligns with what you're looking for.
Okay. So the next question is there any possibility or way out to get the IELTS waiver for masters?
Yeah, potentially. If you've already done a degree in English, then that's fine. But normally that degree needed to be completed within the last 2 years. So do bear that in mind. Also, if you're coming in and you've done standard 12 English, then that can be a potential as well. But do bear in mind that the English language criteria is not just in there to show that Lancaster University knows you have the right English capabilities to study. It's also in there as a way to show to the British government that you also have a good understanding of the language as well. So sometimes if we insist on that English language, it's because of the visa processing rather than a requirement from us, because when we read your application, we can determine the level of English that you have.
Okay. The next question is, I completed BCom in 2018. Can I apply for masters for the upcoming September-January intake?
That's a good question. It depends very much on the program that you're wanting to apply to. It is a late application purely by definition right now, but you can still, if you can find on our website, on the Lancaster website, there's normally in the top corner, there's an apply here button that you can click. If you can click on that, that means that we are still open for application. So you need to pull everything together as quickly as possible and submit that via the Lancaster University website. So yeah, in terms of the overall kind of application process, obviously SIUK is this year has been the best partner that we've got in India. So if a student really wants to pull everything together and make sure they've got everything in place before they apply, I would highly recommend keeping in touch with Priyanka and Deepika to help with that as well. They'll be able to assign you to a team where you're local, based on where you live locally. So you'll be able to go and have a quick chat with them and pull everything together in order to hopefully submit a successful application.
Hi, Jason. When can we expect the university to start issuing CAS letters?
Yeah, so the CAS letters, they're going to be in process imminently. So by law, we're only allowed to start issuing CAS letters 3 months before the first day of term. So for us, the term begins in October. So the CAS letters are going to be starting to be issued from the beginning of July. So we're getting ready to be able to do that so that students can begin applying for their visas and making the arrangements to actually get to the UK.
Okay. The next question is, if I have applied in mid-June, how soon can I hear about the admission results?
So we try to turn around our applications. Usually it's a 4-week kind of turnaround. As long as what I would also recommend or advise is to just double check that you've uploaded absolutely everything to the portal in order to make it a quicker turnaround time. Very often students might get in touch with me and say, you know, I still haven't heard back. It's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then when we actually check their application, they've forgotten to upload the SOP, or they forgot to upload a copy of their passport or an IELTS, for example. So what I would recommend is just to ensure that the process is more speedy, double check that you've uploaded everything that is required as part of the application, because that will help to speed things up.
Okay. So the next question is, after my 12th exams, how soon I can apply for bachelor course? Should I wait for my results?
No, good question. The majority of students, when they apply for their bachelor program, they are applying with what we like to call predicted grades. So that means that you can apply even before you've finished. And what we will look at is prediction, like mock exam results. We look at the teacher recommendation. And what we might give you is what we call a conditional offer. The condition of the offer, the main condition of the offer will be, as long as you can achieve X, Y, and Z results in your standard 12, then we want you to be one of our students. So absolutely, you can apply beforehand. In fact, I would recommend that just to give yourself, to make sure that you meet the deadlines and things like that. Almost every single student here in the UK will also apply with predictions rather than with their final grades. So don't worry, it's not a unique thing for the standard 12 students. Absolutely, we welcome students to apply from any type of curriculum background, because, you know, diversity is one of the best things about the campus. So yeah, absolutely apply as soon as you can, and just make sure that you adhere to the different deadlines.
So the next question is, what is the minimum entry requirement for class 12 students for BSc Accounting and Finance Management?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know it off the top of my head because it varies for every different program. But what I would recommend is, if you just do a Google, Lancaster University international entry requirements, what that should bring up is a table with the different criteria. So open 2 tabs on Chrome or internet, whatever you're using. Google the accounting and finance program at Lancaster. That will bring up the UK equivalent, so you'll be able to see what the A levels are. And then you can use that international table that I was talking about, where you can find India, standard 12, and then you can do a like for like comparison, and you'll know then what the requirement is.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the career opportunities during the course and the part-time job assistance?
Yeah, so different things will happen throughout the year. At Lancaster, we have dedicated international career guidance counsellors whose entire kind of purpose at Lancaster University is to help students like you find part-time work during, but also when you've graduated as well, and help you with that career progression. So we also have a dedicated lifetime careers service. So, you know, even in 30 years' time, if you wanted to get back in touch with Lancaster and talk to us about careers and so on, that's something that you're able to do. And that's something that not every single university offers in the UK. Like I mentioned in the slides, throughout the year, we do different we do different career events, subject specific very often. We do mentoring. We have organizations that we have links with will come into the campus and speak with mentor students and so on. We have an unbelievable network of alumni all across India even as well. I met with some of them last week. I was actually in Mumbai and Bangalore last week, where I met with 15 different alumni from Lancaster University who are doing amazing things now back in India after graduating from 5 and 10 years ago. So that network of alumni is also a resource to our students, because they are now potential employers. So there are a lot of different ways in which we try to prepare students for the world of work. We do a lot of hard and kind of soft skills training as well when you're on the campus. But in terms of things like internships and placements, Lancaster's a city, so you have the benefit of potentially getting some part-time work during studying. There's obviously jobs going to be available on the campus as well. So it just depends, again, going back to how proactive you are as an individual as to what kind of opportunities might be available as well. Like I said before, we have all the tools there available to our students, and generally they do go on to do very good and successful things. But it's very much up to the student to actually use those tools to their advantage.
Okay, so the next question is, do you have student accommodations? If so, how does it work?
Yeah, so student accommodation is based on the campus. So it's really, really convenient. You're never more than 5 or 10 minutes away from a lecture theatre, from the sports centre, from anywhere that you need on the campus. The accommodation is also going to determine the college that you belong to as well, going back to the collegiate system. There are different rates according to the specification that you require in the accommodation, starting from standard, which normally has maybe 6 to 10 students in a single kind of apartment. You always have your own private bedroom. So you'll never, ever share a bedroom at Lancaster University. Like in the US, it's quite common that happens, and also maybe even at some other universities in the UK. But at Lancaster, you will always have your own private bedroom. You also have a wash basin in the bedroom as well. You have all the basic things that you need: a desk, a chair, bed, wardrobe, storage, and so on. Internet and all of that kind of stuff. And normally what you'll have in the standard accommodation, you'll have mixed gender, you'll have, if there's more than 6 students in a dorm, you'll have a kind of a separate shower, a separate toilet, and you might have 2 of them, so you'll have a his and a hers. And you have a big shared living and kitchen sort of area where you can socialize and prepare food and stuff like that as well. We have everything from what I've just described is the standard, all the way up to kind of studio apartment, you know, with amazing view and so on and so forth. So do bear in mind that the price will vary and go up depending again on the exact specification that you require.
Okay, so the last question is, please give advice on your application process and chances of acceptance.
Yeah, so the chances of acceptance very much is determined by the quality and the academic and the relevance of what you've already achieved or are achieving. So, for example, if you look at a master's program in management where the requirement, it says we need a 2-1, which is the equivalent to a bachelor's degree in India at maybe achieving something like 65%. Or maybe like a 3.1 out of a 4, for example. So as long as you meet that criteria, and then as long as you can articulate in the SOP that you have the right skills, you have the right knowledge and the right motivation, then there's a very good chance that you'll get in. To put it into context, this year we received about 7,000 applications from India, and that's for postgraduate and for undergraduate studies. Just under probably 3,000 in total received an offer from Lancaster. So, I mean, if you want to be quite kind of broad with it, you've got roughly a 50% chance of receiving an offer from the university. But again, different programs is, you know, it varies according to the subject you're applying to. And there are so many different factors that can alter that figure. But if you want me to talk in a more general kind of holistic sense, then you've got roughly a 1 in 2 chance of getting an offer.
We have covered all the questions from the chat box. Many thanks, Jason, for answering all the questions so well and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. We are now moving towards the end of this seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audiences who are watching us live right now. Hello. For answering all the questions so well and sharing your valuable knowledge. Lanka, can you mute yourself? Yes. Yeah, Jason, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, do you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now?
I don't think so. What I hope is that it's been a really useful session for students that are thinking about not just coming to Lancaster, but also coming to the UK to get their degree. Obviously, it is a massive, massive commitment to enhancing your kind of portfolio and everything. So I just wanted to say, regardless of the universities that you apply to and eventually study at, that I just want to wish you all the best, and also congratulate you on going in the direction that you want to go in. But also to say a massive thank you to SI UK for helping us in hosting this session, but also most importantly, a really big thank you to the students that have tuned in to listen to what we have on offer at Lancaster. And hopefully maybe one day I'll bump into you in one of those campus buildings that I've showed you there as well. So thank you so much.